So, talking about building wealth, and in this introduction, um, I really want to point out the problem with our traditional way of doing this. Um, so, typically, when people talk about building wealth, the first thing they think of is, uh, you know, uh, saving, right? We put money into the bank. Let's save $25 a month, or let's save $100 a month, and let's do this. And the truth is, wealthy people realize that savings is absolutely not the way to build wealth. You absolutely cannot build wealth through savings. You can't save yourself your way into wealth. Um, because by saving, you'll never actually have more than your cumulative excess. Now, what do I mean by that? What you accumulate, generally what you save is going to be what your excess is. You can't put money into savings when it has to go on the mortgage. When it has to go on this bill or that bill. So we're talking about excess is what you're putting into savings. Even if you put all of your excess, we're not even talking about saving your entire salary, just your excess. Even if you put your excess into savings, you'll never be able to accumulate more than what you put in there, basically. So let me show you this. So let's say you save, we're going to crunch some numbers, and I'm going to show you the futility of this when it comes to building wealth. So let's say that you save $100 a month. Now, let me ask a question. And you have to tell yourself if you don't want to, but it's kind of rhetorical. But how many people save $100 a month? Right? It's like, no, I don't save $100 a month. I don't put that into the savings account and don't touch it. Right? I may desire to, I may have an intention to, but do I actually do it? You think $100, that's not that much. Well, kind of it is when you live in paycheck to paycheck, right? So even when we're talking about excess, even $100 is a struggle. But let's look at $100 a month. If you're saving $100 a month, so that sounds like a lot, but that's about $1,200 a year, right? Now let's look in 40 years. 40 years. Now, how many of y'all want to wait till 40 years from now to call yourself wealthy? No, right? But 40 years of saving $100 a month will only get you to $4,800. I mean, $48,000. 48,000 is 1,200 times 40 years. $48,000. That's what people make in a year. You can't retire off that. You can't live off that past a year. That's not going to sustain you. And that's just for being able to retire. We're not even talking about wealth and actually building something that allows you to quit your job before you even, before your retirement age or whatever. So it's just not going to work out. Okay. So the $48,000 figure that I just gave you, that is without interest. So let's do some calculations on interest. Okay. So right now, the current average interest, and you can look this up. I looked it up the other day. The current average interest rate, now watch this, is 0.05%. Now, that's not 5%. Usually when you write a percentage, you put the two different decimal marks over there. That's not 5%. That's 0.05%. Okay? We don't even have coins in that denomination. Okay? That's horrible. 1% is a penny. We're talking about not even a fifth of that penny, but a fifth of the penny. And that's what you earn for the whole year. The average annual percentage yield, 0.05%. All right. But so there are some places, particularly online banks, because they don't have the same kind of overhead as regular banks. So one that I bank with is Capital One. Now their interest rate is 10 times higher than the national average at your regular brick and mortar bank. Their interest rate is 0.5%. That's still horrible. I remember years ago, this was back in the late 90s, the interest rate was like 3%, something like that. I forget what it was exactly, but it was around like that. This now, half of 1%. That means that if you put in $100 in the bank in 1 year, you'll earn, this is embarrassing. In 1 year, you'll earn half a penny. Because 1%, no, not half a penny, half a dollar. Yeah, but you'll earn 50 cents. Because 1% is $1, and this is half of a percent. So for $100 in a year, you'll only earn 50 cents. So clearly, that's not going to work. So let's do the math and let's add the money to this $100 a year that you're saving. If you save $100 a month, not a year, $100 a month, and then the interest compounds each month, so you're earning interest off your interest. How much would you have in 40 years? Well, with Capital One at 0.5%, you'll have $53,246.59. So over 40 years, your money would have earned $5,000, basically $250 over 40 years. Okay. And that's the current rate, Capital One's.
I'm convinced that savings is not it.
It's not the answer. Look at the actual, not Capital One, but the actual average, like in your Regions Bank or your, you would earn $48,584. So over 40 years, $585 in interest. Now, here's the sad part. When you put money in the bank, you think of your money as just sitting in the bank waiting for you to come get it out. It's not. The bank is taking your money and making mortgage loans, personal loans, credit cards. They're making loans to people, and they're charging them on the good end 12%, on personal loans and credit cards. On the bad end, 25%, sometimes even 30%, but they're paying you 0.05% for using your money to make loans to other people. So it's absolute robbery, but they're in business to make money. And poor, when I say poor people, regular folk don't realize that we're giving them the money to make money with, but we're not making any money by it. Okay. And we think that it's safe because, well, the FDIC insures my deposit. Well, baby, I can have the same amount of insurance by putting it in a safe that's bolted to my floor. It's like, it's just, anyway. So I'm not against putting money in the savings, but only putting it in there for a particular reason. Absolutely not putting it in there as a way of making money, because you literally can't. You just can't. Now let's look at this from a different direction. Let's say that you actually decide, I want to earn this amount of money every month. This is what I want to live by. And when I make this amount of money, I'll be able to retire, right? So let's say you want to earn $3,000 a month. Not a whole lot of money. That winds up being roughly about $36,000 a year, right? 12 months times the 3,000, 36,000 roughly a year. Technically it's like 39, because technically it's 13 because you have extra weeks. But so let's say $36,000 a year. How much money would you have to have in the bank to earn $3,000 a month? Anybody want to guess? Nobody want to guess?
More than I will ever see.
Something like $300,000.
Okay, $300,000. Anybody else?
Close to $1 million.
Close to $1 million. Okay, anybody else? Watch this. With the Capital One, now the Capital One gives 10 times more interest. With the Capital One account, in order to earn $3,000 a month in interest, you would have to have $7.2 million in the account. If you have that much money in your account, you don't care about earning $3,000 a month. And and with the average annual, which is 0.05, the actual average, you would have to have $72 million in the bank in order to earn $3,000 a month. Okay, because this annual percentage rate, that's not what you get every month. That's what you get over the whole year. You have to divide that by 12 in order to see how much you're going to be getting every month. So it's abysmal. So hopefully, as Mother Trout said, hopefully you are convinced that traditional savings is absolutely not the way to personal wealth. All right. The ones who are getting wealthy are the banks. And why are the banks getting wealthy? Because they're putting your money to work. And what we have to learn how to do is stop letting our money sit somewhere and work on somebody else's behalf. We've got to put our money to work for us. Money is intended to be fruitful and multiply. It's going to multiply for somebody else, putting it in the bank, or it's going to multiply for you if you learn how to make it happen. Now, what you don't want to do is do what the guy did when the master gave him the 10 talents and he put it in the ground and let it just sit there. You want to put it to work producing. Okay. Stewardship is not about saving, it's not about holding on to the money. And now we see it's not even about saving it, because that's practically giving the master back exactly what he gave you. Okay. Stewardship is about multiplying. And that's why the man said, to whom much is given, much shall be required of him. I'm expecting you to occupy, do business until I come. Do business means put this money to work. All right. So the money feels safe sitting in the bank, but it's one of the worst things we can do. Here's what you need to, here's where the bank comes in. You need two accounts basically with a bank. You need a transactional account. Generally, that's going to be a checking account. That's the account that you make your transactions. You pay your bills, you pay your mortgage. You need to get out some money to go to the store, to go shopping, to go to the movie theater, Six Flags. That's your living account, your transactional account. How you transact day-to-day business. You need a transactional account, okay? And then you also need an account, what's called basically an emergency fund, right? And Marsha talked about this earlier. The provisional, the general wisdom now is about 6 months in an emergency fund. You know, people who are like middle class, like 200,000, they're earning $100,000, $200,000 a month. They can afford that. For the rest of us who are not like the middle class, but like the lower middle class, okay, I would say at least 3 months. Make that your first target, is at least 3 months, okay? Then you do want to build towards 6 to 8 months, but certainly make your first target 3 months. So for me, at least, my personal goal is, my first goal was $500, and then 3 months, and then 6 months. So I had like 3-step ladders where I can see, okay, I made some progress here, I made some progress, I made some progress. So 500 then, and that's just in the emergency fund.
Okay,
Once you feel that, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, what?
Can you say this over? I missed something. You said make what 3 months?
Your emergency
Put in the emergency fund, make that $500 for 3 months?
No. So my personal goal, so for me to help, I give myself goals that I can achieve a little quicker. Because if it takes me 2 years to build up three months worth of income, I'm going to get discouraged. So I give myself a lower goal that can help me see that I'm making progress. So for me, for an emergency fund, my first goal is to get $500 in the fund. Then I feel like I've accomplished something. However long that takes.
I was gonna say, however long that takes you is what you're saying?
Right, however long that takes.
So you want to at least get $500 in your emergency fund.
That's my own goal as a first stepping stone.
Right.
That's definitely not what you need. You need a whole lot more than $5. But just as a first stepping stone for me, that was my first goal.
Okay.
Your first goal really should be 3 months of your income, 3 months of whatever you earn a year. You want 3 months. And the reason is, if I lose my job, the conventional wisdom is, how long will it take you on average to find another job? That's the conventional wisdom for what an emergency fund is for. It used to be 3 months. Then it was 6 months. That's the conventional wisdom generally now. Now they're recalculating it and saying 8 months. And I'm like, child, we can't put 8 months away, So for me, at least, $500 is my first goal, then 3 months, and then ultimately 6 months in an emergency fund that only gets touched in the absolute emergencies.
So this 3 months that you're talking about is the three, you're building this emergency fund that's supposed to be 3 months of your salary. So that means you're putting so much money in there that will, and however long it takes to put it in there, but that it will, your goal is to have 3 months of your income in there.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
okay, that's okay, thank you.
And then so then when your car breaks down and you don't have money anywhere else, you can pull it from that, but you want to still put it back, as quickly as possible, because what if you lose your job, right? But the fund will still be there, accessible in those emergency type situations, ultimately for the purpose of saving your house and home if you lose your job. Okay, so that's why you would keep, and this is called liquid assets. Okay, liquid just means it can run, right? Like a stream runs. You need to have money that you can get to quickly to pay bills, to handle certain necessities. So when your money is locked away in investments or locked away in business plans and locked away in this and that, you don't have easy access to it. If it's locked away in an IRA, you'll get dinged if you even go into it, right? So to keep money liquid, to keep easy access to it, it's good to have that. But we don't want a lot of money that way, because again, when it's sitting there, it's working for the bank. It's not working for you. Even if it's earning you interest, it's earning you horrible, like we see here, over 40 years, it's earning horrible money. So that's not money that you want to be looking at as gaining wealth. It's just not going to happen. All right. So the key then is to put your money to work for you. Now, here's the problem. In order to put money to work for you, you have to have it. I can't put money to work for me if I don't have any money, right? And so we just did a few last week, right? Doing a budget. If I do my budget and every month I'm above water, but I don't have anything left, I'm at that zero figure, I don't have anything to work with, right? You have to have extra in order to put that money to work for you. And so then the biggest question that you have to ask is, how do I generate more money so that I actually can put it to work? Not so that I can spend it, not so I can buy a better car, not so I can buy a bigger house in a better neighborhood. How do I put this money to work for me? Okay. Now, buying a house, I'm getting too much of this, but buying a house actually is one example of putting money to work for you if you make the right purchase. Your house should not only be a matter of what kind of house do I like and is it in the neighborhood I want to live in. You should also be considering what have the home values in this area been doing the last 5 years, 10 years. The vast majority of people never look at that when they're buying a house. They just say, can I afford it? And do I like it? That's all we care about. But when we look at a house as an investment, we should be paying attention to, has this house been appreciating or depreciating in value? Because even if I can afford it, if it's going to be worth less later, I'm not building wealth with it. I'm living there fine, but as long as you're living there paying the mortgage, you may as well be building wealth. Guess what the church did? The church built wealth. We were at McKinley for what, 10, 11 years. We built wealth not only by paying down the mortgage so that when we sold it, we were able to cash out all the equity that we had put into it. But because the place appreciated in value, we bought it for $150. We sold it for $2 after the seller credit. We sold it for $225. I think that was what it was, $225. So on top of the equity we built by paying down the mortgage, just by virtue of having it over those years, our wealth, the church's wealth, increased by $75,000. Just by having it. Add the $75,000 to the money that we had already paid down on the principal, and that's why we walked away from that sale with over $150,000. Which is why we put $100,000 down on Fairview and still had $50,000 with which to make renovations. We got new windows, we got air conditioners, we got carpet. We were able to do this stuff because we built wealth. We put money to work for us. So that's one example. So yes, buying a mortgage is an investment, a wealth building investment, but you have to look at it as that when you're making the decision on what to buy, and not just buying because you can afford it and because it's a nice house. Because just because it's a nice house does not mean it's appreciating in value. Okay. We also bought it during the economic downturn, which worked in our favor. During that crash, the market crash. I think we bought it right before the crash. But anyway, so that worked in our favor. All right. So now we want to talk about developing multiple streams of income. There's a passage in Ecclesiastes that said to divide your money basically by 7 or 8, because you never know what calamity may befall. If you have one stream of income, what happens when that stream dries up? What happens when COVID happens and people start getting laid off? It wasn't because you did a bad job. COVID happened and people just start losing their job. What happens when you're a part of that? No fault of your own, but you're subject to what's happening in the world because that's the only stream of income that you have. We have to develop multiple streams of income. And I sincerely believe, what's interesting is not only does the Bible teach this, but actually, if you talk about millionaires who aren't even Christian, they have the same numbers. It's like, that's pretty cool. The Bible already told me that. They say you should have at least 7 streams of income. It's like 7. I only have 1. What do you mean 7? That's your goal. 7 independent streams of income. If one dries up, guess what? You got 6 more. And while those 6 more are going, you can work on another 7th. Okay? So this is what we're talking about, developing multiple streams of income. Now, there are basically 2 types. Now I'm going to really speed up. So let's go. There are basically 2 types of income you want to build. Okay? There's active income and there's passive income. There's active income and there's passive income. And as always, just so you know, I can't see everybody. So make sure that if you have a question, just feel free to just jump in and ask it. There's active income and there's passive income. Now, active income is income that's generated through labor. It's generated through labor. Some people don't even call it active. I call it active because it's, the opposite of passive. But it is sometimes called active as well. But it's also called wage income. Is it wage income or work income? I forget which word is used. But the idea of you work and you get paid, that's active income. You have to do something to get it, okay? Passive income, on the other hand, is income that's generated without a significant expenditure of labor, ongoing, okay? Is generated without, now, many passive income streams, they will require labor up front. You got to get it going. You got to get it launched, right? But ongoing, it won't require that same amount of investment. Maybe minimal, but not a long-term investment of labor. Now, why is this important? Because when it comes to building wealth, you need passive income, okay? Why is that? Because there are only so many hours in the day. And it doesn't matter how productive you are, there are only so many hours in the day. And if you are only making money off of your labor, you are limiting yourself, your ability to earn, on the basis of how much time you have within which to earn. Okay? And let's be honest, nobody pays you what you're worth. They can't afford to. Why? Because they're too busy trying to make their own money. Do you realize that you are your company, the company that owns where you work, you are a business expense for them. They're trying to make money, which means you are drained to that. Why would they pay you more than they can if you're draining their bottom line? Well, that's capitalism for you. Down with the capitalists. No, you just want to be the one making the money, right? Now, don't get me wrong. We want to treat our employees right. We want to do well by them, help them to live a good life. But at the end of the day, your 9-to-5 job is not intended to make you wealthy. It's just absolutely not. Whoopsie daisy, went to the next screen next by accident. But anyway, it is not intended to make you wealthy, and it's just not going to, okay? So what you need to do is find a way to have passive income such that you're able to keep these. You can't, there's no way you can maintain, I don't even care if you're Jamaican, you cannot maintain 7 streams of active income. Nobody has that much energy. Okay, you have these most of these streams have to be passive in order for it to actually produce for you. Now, usually active income produces money for you for a much smaller investment of money. So like, how much money do you have to invest at the job you work? Somebody said none. Actually, you do. You have to invest gas, bus fare, clothing. These are all investments that you need to make that job work. Okay, but they require a much smaller investment than than most passive streams of income. Not all of them, but for many of them. So certainly, it's much easier to maintain the active income stream, which is why everybody has a job, right? It's like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And we all cite traditional careers of active income. Nobody says, I want to lay on the beach reading a Kindle book while I'm making money. Because it's making money, I'm making money passively and I'm living my dream. Nobody says, when I grow up, I want to just watch TV all day. Nobody says that. I want to hang out with my friends. Because we associate, watch this, we associate being, what do you want to be when you grow up? We associate being with making money. So the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? What they're really asking you is, how do you want to survive financially when you grow up? That's what they're really asking you. And we know it, even as kids, because once they ask, that's how we answer the question. So it's a programming that we have to get deprogrammed from in order to do this thing a better way. And again, here's the problem. Wealthy people know this already, and they teach their kids this. We didn't know it. It's not that our parents, like, kept it from us. We didn't know it. Okay? So we've got to get deprogrammed so that we can get this thing right. All right. So, so one of the main goals, so because it's easier to get involved in active income like traditional employment, one of the main goals of active income needs to be to generate the money. I'm gonna say this again. One of the main goals of active income needs to be to generate the money to help you develop passive income. I'll say it again. One of the main goals of active income needs to be in your life the ability to generate money, generate the funds to develop passive income. Well, Pastor, I'm just trying to pay these bills. I'm just trying to survive. Survivors don't get wealthy. Survivors keep from getting put out on the street. That's it. And actually, sometimes survivors do get put out because guess what? Life happens. So you've got to change your way of thinking, change your way. Start looking at your job as a resource. Just like the bank is taking your money and making themselves rich. Look at your sweat equity. That's what it's called when you work for somebody else. The church didn't have sweat equity. We had real estate equity. We were just there gaining equity. Sweat equity is when you actually from the labor of your hands, you're actually causing your resources to build up. Well, we want that sweat equity to be put not just in survival, but to be invested into developing passive income streams. All right. Now let's dig into how do we do it? Okay. Because many of them require money up front, we need to have the money to do that with. But here's the thing. Before I even get into these ideas, I got to say this. Stop being afraid to try out new things. I know you say, well, this is our money. We got to have this money. We got to make this thing happen. Listen, your money sitting around in the bank is doing nothing for you. So Kevin O'Leary, one of the sharks on Shark Tank, he uses an analogy that I like. He talks about how he considers his money soldiers, and the purpose of soldiers is not to sit back and train, it's to go out into the battlefield. Guess what? Sometimes the soldier dies, but it's all part of an overall strategy toward victory. Sometimes your business idea or your whatever, it won't work. But even through that, you've learned something that's going to help you to be able to move forward. Yes, Damon, you had a question?
It's really just kind of a statement. It's for myself and probably more than half of us on here. I think we have to, like, to be honest, I mean, it's not something I just came up with, but like really grasping the idea that it's not like life is not going to be for us like it was for our parents and grandparents. They were able to stay on a job for 25, 30 years and be able to and name themselves decently without without having another job or doing, having outside stuff or whatever. But in 2020 and moving forward, that isn't going to sustain us in our 70s and 80s and stuff like that. Like we really do have to do something else. So, I recognize that, but it is a mentality also of trying to grasp that idea that, 401k and your retirement plan and Social Security, especially. I mean, people keep making the idea that Social Security may not even be there for us, for some of us, depending on when we get there, but that we really do, like, this is like, for me, this is a matter of how my way of life is going to be when I get too old to work. So yeah, it's, it's not just a matter of, oh, I want to drive a Bentley. I could care less about those things. I'm talking about my way of life, later on. So I hear you. I really do. It's definitely an eye opener. This is not just a matter of, oh, I'm trying to save some money. It's going to be a way of life that I'm concerned about. So I get it.
Amen. And it's going to definitely require some close your eyes and leap. Now, I'm not saying take your life savings and throw it on something you ain't even researched. I'm not saying anything like that. But I am saying we need to be willing to try something different. We've been around long enough to hear that saying over and over again. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. We've got to start trying to do new things. All right. So, ideas for developing different streams of income. So let's dig in. So the first idea is this: sales. Now, the ideas that I'm giving you, the things that I'm going to be putting on screen are going to be very general, but I'm going to talk about them in much more detail. So when I talk about sales, we're basically talking about retail, selling something for a profit. Okay, there are oh my God, countless ways that you can go about doing this. Okay, sales. The two most fundamentally basic ways of doing this are, well, it depends on how you're looking at it, but two basic ways is by carrying inventory. So like you have a storefront, people come in there, you don't show them a catalog, they actually can see and touch the stuff and they can buy it. It means you have to carry that inventory. Now, let's say that Barnes and Noble, let's say I'm a bookseller. Barnes and Noble is not going to give me 1,000 of their books to put on my shelves until I sell them. That's called consignment. That does happen with some places, doesn't happen traditionally. Okay, you have to pony up the money to purchase your inventory and then hope you sell it for the profit. Okay, so carrying inventory can be very expensive. Okay, but it certainly is a way to do things, especially if you're going to need to, if you're going to have a brick and mortar store. But another way of doing this is through what's called drop shipping. Maybe y'all may have heard of that. Drop shipping is where you don't actually carry the inventory. The person that you're going to get the product from wholesale, you wait until you sold it, and then you order it from them and have them ship it directly to your customer. But they have to ship it, they call it blind shipping, where they don't identify themselves. So it shows that it came from you, okay? So it's called drop shipping, where they ship it on your behalf directly to your customer, okay? You're just the middleman that made it happen, and you get your profit. You pay the drop shipper their wholesale price or whatever they're charging, and then you keep the rest of it for yourself. The good thing is you don't have to pay for it to be drop shipped until you've been paid by the customer, which means you're not out of pocket, for that. So primarily when we talk about drop shipping, we're talking about online sales. You can say catalog sales too, but nobody really does catalog anymore. So we're talking about online sales. Now, there are a couple of ways to go about selling online. You can have your own website to sell from. A lot of people are getting away from that because it can be costly to develop. Once it's developed, it's easier, but it can be costly to develop. But you can also sell on online marketplaces. The biggest one everybody knows about is eBay, right? Sell on eBay. It's an online auction site. But people don't realize when we say I'm shopping at Amazon.com, honestly, probably only 80% of the stuff you buy was actually sold by Amazon. A whole lot of that was sold by independent sellers. That's why on the product page, it actually tells you who it's sold by. Now, sometimes it's sold by so-and-so, but it's fulfilled by Amazon. So that's why Amazon can ship it to you in 2 days, because they're holding the merchandise in order to ship it quickly to the customers, but it's still sold by somebody else. So Amazon is a marketplace that you yourself can get involved in and sell products through, which is great because you don't have to worry about, when it's your own website, you got to go find every single person to come to your website to buy your stuff. With Amazon, they already have a flow of traffic and people are just searching for what they want to buy. And then they might come up, and then your products might come up in the search results. Or you can even advertise. They have what's called sponsored listings. When you pay attention, you can advertise when somebody searches for something to make sure that your product is at the top. You can sell through eBay, you can sell through Amazon, and there are a number of other online marketplaces. I'm not going to go through all of them. Just go to Google and type online marketplace, okay? But a lot of them that you can do. If you make crafts, right? We got a million, crocheters at the church. You can sell Afghan stuff. Generally, you wouldn't do them on a place like Amazon, but there is a marketplace called Etsy, ETSY. That's real big on like personally created, personally manufactured products, not the general manufacturing industry, but personal. So like your personal, like my body butters and lip balms and things like that, let's say Afghans and things like that. That's a good marketplace for products like that. Somebody else want to say something?
I just said crafted. Everything now is crafted, handcrafted. We used to call it homemade, but now it's crafted. That's the term. But it sells. I mean, it really, people are tired of manufactured stuff to a degree. They want something that,
Well, it has character. Like we talk about buildings, it has character.
Right. Right.
So how does that work? I mean, say that you make something.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're housing it, right? I guess, and then if somebody wants to buy it, what? Like if Amazon is your whatever.
Right, retail.
But they come to your house and pick it up.
So here's what happens.
Yeah.
So they have different like for something like Amazon, they have different setups, different account types of vendor accounts you can create. With some, you would ship your product, you would ship your inventory to Amazon so they can warehouse it and then it can be offered on Prime and stuff like that. Because a lot of people won't buy it if it's not Prime, and then they can ship it out faster. But sometimes, like with eBay, especially, they place the order and then you ship it to the customer yourself.
But if Amazon houses your stuff, your
Mhm.
products, don't you pay for that space?
You do pay for it. Now, I don't know how much they charge, but it's very, relatively speaking, Amazon does not charge that much to warehouse your stuff. They're really going to make their money off of when you sell it, making that their commission off of it, if you will. I forget how much, but you pay. I think it's like every 3 months or something like that. I know
I think
Ty's
it's a
probably looked
quarter.
into that more than. Go ahead, Ty.
I think it's like a quarter, a cubic feet, or something like that, and then you pay it every 3 months.
Okay, so she said so they charge you per cubic foot. So you have to see how much of this, how many books am I selling on Amazon, and you have to like measure it because they're going to charge you kind of like when Damien moved here and we all rented a truck, not a regular truck, but for them to actually haul it, they would charge. You had to pay by how far in the truck did your stuff take. If you came to this line, you paid this much. If it came to that line, you paid this much more. But that's basically, it's about the size. It's how much Amazon will charge you. And again, that's negligible. What they really want to do is sell your stuff, and that's how they're going to make their money. But obviously, if you're not sure it's going to sell, if you don't have something that people want, then you don't want to just waste money having a warehouse, because then you are wasting money. But warehousing it yourself. So let me give you an example. So we were talking about Etsy earlier. So let's say that I sell, so y'all know I have the body butters and the lip balms and things like that on my own website, but I also have them on Etsy. Now, I haven't like promoted anything on Etsy or anything like that, but technically they're on there. Now, I could make up, hundreds of bottles of body butter and just have them sitting in my closet all day. But number one, that's sweat equity when I could be doing something else. Because my thing is, if I don't have a storefront, why do I have to bother with inventory? So what I do is I wait until somebody buys it, then I make it. And so what happens is when I make it, I always make, because of the amounts that I'm making with my recipe, I'm usually making more than they buy. So once I make it, now I have the extra that does go onto inventory, and we'll just wait till somebody else buys it. But other than that, I don't bother with that. Why? Because I have a million bases. So I have a cocoa butter base body butter. I have a mango body butter base, and then each of those bases have all of these different flavors. I'm not gonna have all that stuff housed in my closet, or have to rent a storage space to house all of that. So I wait until people purchase it, and then I build it or create it. So there are different ways to go about inventorying and getting your stuff together, but selling on these different marketplaces. Now, next is, let me see if they think the other one's so you also don't have to sell brand new products. I said I was going to be speeding up, and I'm still like, can't believe how fast the time is going. You also don't have to sell brand new products. You can sell used products. You can go to garage sales. You can go to, I love auctions. You go to auction. There are a lot of people who actually have secondhand shops, and they get their stuff from auctions. When I go to the auction, used to go to the auction in St. Charles, a lot of those people own shops. And that's where they would go to the estate auctions to get their merchandise to sell in their brick and mortar store. You can do the same thing online. Get the stuff, store it in your basement, or rent a storage unit, store that stuff up, sell it online. They buy it, go out there, pack it up, ship it to them. And you're going to almost always be able to sell it for more than you bought it for at an auction or at a garage sale or at flea markets or thrift stores. People who, you don't have garage sales to make wealth. What you're doing here is for making wealth. People have garage sales to get rid of stuff. So they're selling it cheap, right? Facebook Marketplace. A lot of people on Facebook Marketplace are not there to make wealth. They're there to get rid of stuff. So they're going to sell their iPhone 5 because they wanted to upgrade and get something else. They're going to sell it cheap, buy it cheap, and then sell it higher. This is called flipping, by the way. You ever watch HGTV, House Flipping? Buy it cheap, fix it up, resell it higher. This is flipping. So I watched a video where the guy was flipping couches. I kid you not. He was making like $8,000 a month flipping couches. What would he do? He would go to Facebook Marketplace and other marketplaces, and he would buy. He would look for certain types of couches that he knew would sell, sectionals, and then couches that you could unzip the fabric and wash it. He would look for that stuff, buy it real cheap, buy it for like $50 or buy it for $100. He would go, he would wash it, he would take real nice pictures of it, and then he would sell it for like $400, $300, and he made $200 off one couch, right? He would flip couches. So buy cheap, buy used and cheap, fix it up, resell it, all right? And those are places that you can buy stuff from. Garage sales, auctions, flea markets, thrift stores, and then you can sell it online, you can sell it at trade shows, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. There's a place called OfferUp, Offer, OFFERUP. That's an app. You can sell things on there as well, or buy things on there as well, and then resell them, right? Here's another way of sales: digital products. Here's the good thing. With physical products, you can only buy it and then sell it. Once you sell it, it's gone. With digital products, you create the product one time and then you can sell it as many times as you want to, right? So I wrote all the books that I wrote. I have both physical and digital. When it's physical, when I sell a physical book, I still have to pay the people who printed it, right? I still have to pay people who sold it, like Amazon or whatever. When it's digital, all I have to do is I don't have to keep getting it reprinted. I just keep selling it. I just have to pay Amazon their share, but it's a much more higher profit margin because it's a digital product that can be sold over and over again. That's why software is such a good industry to be in. You don't have to create the software from scratch every time somebody wants to buy it. You create it one time and then sell it over and over again to many different people. So digital products is a great thing. So think about if you are good at something, you're passionate about something, create an ebook about it and sell the ebook. If you can create software, you can create apps for the phone. Think about it would be great if my phone did this. We'll find a way to do it. People say, well, I can't program apps. That's what the internet is for. There are a million marketplaces where you can go and have somebody else program it for you. You have to pay them to do it. You pay somebody to create the app, but you don't have to worry about creating it yourself. Well, past the how do I get the money to create it? I'm telling you, that's what these income stream ideas are for, to give you the money to create these passive income streams. And many of them require an investment. Like if you wanted to create an app or a website membership, let's say that you have something that you think people will pay monthly to have access to, create a website membership, all right? And get that monthly recurring income, okay? So sales, many different ways to go about sales. Here's another way, blogging. Now you might think, going to a blog, how is that going to actually generate me income? People are just coming there to read my articles. Don't you know how when you go to a blog and there are advertisements on the left, advertisements on the right, advertisement popping up on the window, blocking you from being able to even read the article? Don't y'all see that stuff? And it irritates the heck out of you, right? Guess why they're doing it? Because they're making a whole lot of money by doing it. Okay, so blogging itself is a way to generate money through two things: advertising, and through this next thing, an income idea, affiliate marketing. Now, what is affiliate marketing? Affiliate marketing is where you refer sales to a product and you make a commission off of every sale you get. So oftentimes when you go to a website and they're reviewing a product, let's say, I wonder what people thought about this blender. What did they think about the Ninja blender, right? You Google Ninja blender and then you have people's blog that have reviews on the blender. Well, when you click that and it shows you the review and then it says like buy here, when you click that buy link, they're sending you through their affiliate link to the Amazon site or to the whoever site. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll rate the top 3 blenders. They'll say the top 3 blenders of 2020. And guess what? All 3 of them have affiliate links attached to them. So so even if you don't buy their top pick, they don't care. They just want you to get it through their affiliate link. That's one of the reasons why you have to be very wary about going to these blogs and reading reviews, because you need to know, is this an honest review or are you just telling me crap in order to get the sale? Okay. But affiliate marketing, one of the main reasons people have blogs is to recommend to be an affiliate of different products and to get those sales. Okay. Very low startup costs to affiliate marketing when it comes to blogging and things like that. All right. There are a lot of ways to do it. A lot of ways. You can't just get into it and expect to make a lot of money. You have to learn how to do it effectively. But there are a million YouTube videos, a million ebooks, but especially YouTube videos that'll walk you through the processes. So do your research. People say, well, trial and error is the best way. Not when you can learn from somebody else's error. Remember, time is money. You don't want to waste too much time if you can learn from somebody else's experience and errors. So do that. Here's another place where you can learn how to do a lot of good stuff. Udemy. So Udemy, UDEMY.com. Think about an academy, a college. Udemy has a lot of different courses on a million different topics, right? Investing, financial management, life coaching, all of these different types of things you can learn, build up your skills, and then put those skills to use. You go to a college course, even at like a community college, you'll be paying thousands of dollars for stuff you can get on the internet, either for free or very cheap. Udemy runs sales probably once every 2 weeks. Their regular price for a course might be $200. Just wait a week. I guarantee you it'll be on sale for $10.99. I am not kidding. I am not kidding. They run a sale like every other week. So if it's not on sale then, just come back a week later, okay? And you'll be able to get that course. I have bought probably, over the course of the last few years, probably 10 or 12 courses on different subject matters for like $10. And I ain't even made it through all of them, but it's so much learning there available for me. And I didn't have to go to a community college or to university and spend thousands of dollars to learn it. That's why I think that the whole college structure is going to collapse, because with the internet and how much information is available to people at people's fingertips now, that's just not sustainable anymore. Nor do I think people should continue pouring money into that. Yes, so let me spell that for you. I'll put the link in here. Whoops, let me put that out there for everybody. Whoops. And I'm telling you, you have no idea how many different topics and courses and things that are available there. So if you want to learn about something, go to Udemy. Electrical engineering, just computer programming, all kind of stuff. You said, I thought I had to go to college to learn this. No, $10.99. I'm telling you, it's amazing. So go there and learn some skills. All right, let me get through this real quick. We're going over a little bit, but real quick. Another thing, whoops, back here. Freelancing. So freelancing is this. If you don't have the skills you need to do something, like to create an app or to create an ebook or something, pay somebody else to do it for you. You can find them at different freelancing websites. Watch this. If you do have the skills, like digital skills, how to create apps, how to program, watch this. If you're good with music, if you can sing, if you can draw, if you can do graphic design, all of that, freelancing websites, you can go there as a purchaser. You can also go there as a contractor who's selling your services. All right. A couple of places. Fiverr. Fiverr is the word 5 with an R, but it's 2 R's. So let me send that to you real quick in the chat. Fiverr.com. Another one is freelancer.com. Any skills you have, you can create ads, or you can go and browse through what other people are looking for and see if you can do that for them and make money that way. Some people are looking for personal assistants. I need somebody to go pick up my laundry and take my dog for a walk. You're not gonna find that on Fiverr, but there are other websites you can go to and be somebody's personal assistant. So it's a lot of different ways to do this, okay? But freelancer, if you have skills, go to freelancer and make money from your skills. If you don't have skills, go to Udemy and learn them. So there are many different ways to do this, okay? Next, let me see how much time. Okay, so I'm gonna have to stop here at freelancing, and I'm gonna have to come back another week because I still got a lot I still have to cover on these income ideas. So next week we're gonna start. Watch this. Whoops, with real estate, and there's a whole lot to be said about real estate. So that's when we'll come back next week, and we'll talk about that. So, are there any questions at all about what I've covered so far tonight?
I just want to add that Coursera, and you've been seeing ads. Our university actually had us take a course from Coursera on contact tracing, and it was a free course. And I get ads from them all the time on all kinds of free courses, and they have like mini certificates, not degrees, but certificates on various things that you can get certified in. And just by taking certain number of their courses and add to your ability, so that Coursera is the same kind of thing as the Udemy is.
It is. Coursera is one of Udemy's competitors, if you will. So yes, that's definitely one of them as well. And the difference is Udemy generally, I mean, you can put a course on Coursera, but Udemy is a lot of just individuals creating courses. But actually, there are some universities that actually put courses on, like Coursera, and there's another one, I forget the name of it, Teachable. I think it's called Teachable.com, where actually universities put stuff on there too.
Yeah, the thing they had us do was from Johns Hopkins, so
yeah,
and it was free. So there are free things that you could, even if it's just something you're interested in, but that I was amazed that it was, one, free, and two, where it came from. And like I said, now that I've taken one thing, I get, different ads in my email for others. So
yes, thank you for sharing that, Coursera, because that's definitely one of the other good ways to learn skills and things. And and you can do it at your own pace. It's not, a classroom oriented where you have to take it at a certain pace and this and that. So it's great. It's a great resource. So yeah, avail yourself of these opportunities. We need skills, and these are easy and cheap ways to develop them. So utilize that. Listen, you do not need a college degree. I'm gonna say it again. You do not need a college degree to be an entrepreneur. The business down the street might want to see one. You don't need one to work for yourself. What you do need are the skills, the education, but you can get that much cheaper these days. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say about having the multiple streams of income. When everything shut down and I couldn't clean houses anymore, it was nice to be able to fall back on the online stuff that I could just do at home. And then we didn't miss out on anything doing that.
That is awesome. That's a perfect case in point for this idea of one stream drying up and you still have other streams available. So thank you for sharing that. And y'all, this is not where, you make your own luck. You don't have to just be born into this. You can do this. Marsha, did you have something you want to say or ask?
Okay, so it was sales, blogging, affiliate marketing, and what was number 4?
Freelancing.
Oh, I misnumbered it. Okay.
So being a freelancer. So like you were interested years ago in photography.
Mm-hmm.
Take a course on photography at Coursera or at Udemy, learn more skills about that. Like you were doing, go to the library, check out some books on it. YouTube has 1 million videos for free, help you learn about photography. You can learn how to do this stuff, y'all, and you can do it. So find something you're interested in. Don't do it. Don't say that, well, I need to do something to make some money, so I'm gonna do something I hate. No, find something that you're interested in so that you can actually do it with passion. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just gonna say that, and Steffi's gonna overhear me, but Steffi messes around with her makeup all the time, and she posts it online. Now she's had people who she knows, who've seen her on Facebook, contact her. Halloween's coming up. Can you do this for me and I will pay you? Somebody who's going to do some kind of a music video thing. They're still working out the details, but can you do some makeup for me? So just because she's messing around with makeup and getting better and better at it, people are seeing it because she posts it on Facebook, and then they're contacting her and saying, can you do this and I will pay you.
That's awesome. And social media is one of the main ways that you can generate interest in what you're able to offer. So thank you for that. Yes.
I could see Steffi, being in high demand. I mean, something like that. Her skills could be like people putting on a play. It could really blow up. She could really blow up. I'm gonna be her friend forever.
Do you all remember we were still in McKinley at this time, years ago, we haven't shown it in so long, we still have it. But years ago, there was a video that we played. I think the first time we played it startled y'all because I wasn't expecting it, before service. And it said, welcome to the sanctuary. It says, please silence your cell phones. It gave out the Wi-Fi password on this little video clip, like 30 seconds, right? That wasn't my voice. Guess what I did? I went to Fiverr and paid a voiceover person to record I wrote the script out and told him to record it. And he recorded it. And I could have went back and said, you didn't do this right, and go back and do it again, but he recorded, it was fine. I think I paid like $10. Okay. And then I put it to a PowerPoint and created a video out of it and put it on the thing. So guess what? This man had a skill of using his voice. He created, now these are what on Fiverr, they're called gigs. He created a gig that says, I'll put voiceover to your video for $5, and I bought it. So you can just voiceovers, like I said, you can sing. There are people who want jingles created for their little product. You can sing somebody's jingle for them. They want somebody to write articles for their blog because they want that blog, but they don't have time to write articles. So they go to Fiverr and find somebody else to write them for them. You can be the customer looking for the work, but you can also be the service provider getting paid to do it. Now, this is all sweat equity. This is all active income, but it's still ways to raise extra money so that you can begin to pour it into passive income. And one of the biggest passive incomes that we're going to talk about next week, like I mentioned earlier, is real estate. But that usually, not always, usually requires upfront money. We'll talk about some ways that you won't even need upfront money for that next week. Any other questions or comments?
Do you mean to tell me we could have had Sister Marsha as a photographer at our wedding since we did not have one at all?
We sure could have. But she wasn't.
I did do a wedding one time. I forgot who wedding I did. What you say, Pastor?
I said, but you weren't on Fiverr.
Oh yeah.
Hey, folks.
You did.
I used to be my father's I used to be my
friend.
father's assistant doing wedding photography. I used to be my father did the photography and I would assist him. So we have a wealth of talent. Marsha, you, me, and Steffi, who does photography, we'll go into business doing wedding photography.
Hey, there you go. Because people are there's a couple things we know is always going to happen. People are always going to be born. So you can create some kind of niche around like gender reveals or around, people are always going to die. People are always going to get married. So there's great ways to do that, So think about that. What's the need? And you can do market research easily online. This is not the purpose of this Bible class series to teach you how to do all of that stuff, but Google it. There are plenty of people who will teach you how to do it and find out what's the need. And in these needs, what am I interested in? Okay. And how can I make it profitable? So sorry for us going over some, but good questions, good answers all. And we look forward to continuing next week. Anything else real quick? All right. By way of announcement, tomorrow we're here. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow is the final, if provided he doesn't back out, the final presidential debate. So I want to encourage everyone to watch that. That'll be at 8:00 p.m. 8:00 p.m. Central. I'm not sure what network it will be on though. It will probably be aired on many of the major news stations, but let's see. Looks like it'll be on, whatever. You'll find it. It'll probably be on a lot of the different networks. But anyway, looks like it'll be on, all the major broadcast cable networks will be airing it. So you'll be able to find it easily. So we want to be informed voters. Don't be irritated, watch it. You can be irritated while you're watching it, but don't be irritated and not watch it. Okay. Then we're back Saturday at 12:00 noon, continuing and again, this is the plan is for this to be our last renovation / cleanup for the season, not cleanup, but renovation for the season. As it gets cold, we get into winter and holidays. So that's again 12:00 noon. Then we're back on Sunday for our 12:00 service. Yes, ma'am.
Got a question. Well, not a question. When last week you had mentioned about, this is off this topic. This is one from last week's topic about the credit. And I found, I don't know where I got the list I got from, but there is another, I have an updated PowerPoint. So if I can share it and people can just write it down and then they can leave the meeting or whatever, I'll just leave it up on the screen. And get to that. So there's the new breakdown for that. Has anybody gotten their credit report yet? Looked at it?
I did after last week. I pulled Carla and mine's credit, and you know how it's normally you can get it for free once a year, but I guess because of COVID, they're letting you look at it every week for free on annualcreditreport.com.
Ooh, okay.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
So pay special attention to what's on there because some of the stuff that's on there may not be accurate. So make sure that you're paying attention to what's on there.
Yeah, I had something on mine 6 months ago, maybe, from what is the check cash and chain, check cash America, whatever it is, in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was like $2,000, and it was not mine. So I had to dispute that. I try to tell people all the time. People say, "Oh, I know my credit is bad. Oh, I know my credit is bad." And when you've been saying that for 10 or 15 years, you know,
stuff drops off after 7 years.
A lot of stuff has dropped off. You know, people don't really realize that. So, and especially when it's free, it doesn't make any sense not to just go and check it out and see what is and what isn't on there. And a lot of times people have found that either there was something on there they didn't know about, or the stuff that they thought was on there was long gone. So it does behoove us to do so.